Okay, I think we can get going. Welcome again, everyone, and thanks so much for joining this session today, where we will be launching this circularity assessment tool that we developed as part of the CIRF, the Circular Food Systems for Rwanda project, which we'll get into a bit later. So I am Christopher van Schalkwyk. I'm from the African Circular Economy Network, or ASEN for short. And I'll just quickly, I'm joined by my colleague here, Elke Neyman, who is the lead for our Circular Food Systems in Rwanda project. So I'll just quickly go over the agenda with you. So I'll do a quick welcome on ASEN for those of you who are not aware of what ASEN is and what we do. And then I'll give you a quick introduction about the CIRF project. And then we'll have a quick, before Elke jumps into her presentation, we'll have a quick poll. And it's actually a few examples of the questions that is in this circularity assessment tool that we are launching, just to get a feel of the answers that we will get from the people in the room. And then we will reflect on that poll a bit later. I'll hand over to Elke to do her presentation, to run through this circularity assessment tool and go into a bit more details with you on that. And then we will have a short questions and answer session. So it will be quite a quick and to the point session. So we'll try and stick to this agenda as closely as we can. So just a few house rules. We'll keep everyone muted and cameras off for now, but in the Q&A session, everyone will have the ability to unmute and share their screen so that we can have a nice interactive chat at the end as well. And the session will be recorded, and I'll share the recording afterwards as well. So a quick intro to the African Circular Economy Network. So ASEN is Africa's original think and do tank for circular economy transformation, connecting over 1,000 practitioners across 42 countries while delivering tangible impact through project implementation, research, knowledge sharing, and capacitation. So that's just in short. I will also share a link to our website in the chat later that you can read up a bit more on ASEN. So quickly, our vision and mission. So our vision is to build a restorative African economy that generates well-being and prosperity inclusive of all its people. That's a very important point for us. And then we work towards this vision through new forms of economic production and consumption, which maintain and regenerate its environmental resources. Just quickly, our strategic priorities, which we call connect, empower, and transform. So the connect priority is that we build and strengthen this comprehensive network of circular economy practitioners to foster collaboration across countries, sectors, and stakeholder groups. And then on the empower side, of which this webinar and this tool that we're launching is a part of, we equip stakeholders with knowledge, skills, and tools needed to become effective circular economy champions and implementers in their respective contexts and communities. And then on the transform side, to have long-lasting and sustainable impact, we deliver impactful programs and projects that translate circular economy principles into tangible business models, policy frameworks, and systematic change across African communities. And then just quickly, our representation across Africa. So you'll see we are quite represented across the whole continent. And we operate through a decentralized structure with active country chapters So as soon as we have enough members in a specific country, we form a chapter. And in this map, you can see some of our very active chapters. We have Ghana, Nigeria, Cameroon, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Uganda, Kenya, and Zambia, Zimbabwe, South Africa, just to name a few of our very active chapters. And then very important, we value collaboration, transparency, and shared learning. So that means that every member in this network contributes to shaping the circular economy movement across Africa. So this is something that we are very passionate about at ASEN. And then a quick overview of this Circular Food Systems for Rwanda project. Like I mentioned, this circularity assessment tool that we will be launching today is part of something that we developed during this project. So the CIRF project aims to foster and strengthen circular food systems in Rwanda. with a strong focus on SMEs. So ASEN is an implementing partner, and this entailed technical assistance that we provided to SMEs to give them the support that they needed to improve their abilities to utilize circular business models. So again, just to mention, the Circularity Assessment Tool was actually part of our process to assess these SMEs in the project, and we realized that this tool, it was so effective and so nice that we had to make it public and share it with everyone. So we refined the questions that we used in this assessment a bit, and we created this tool that Elke will share with us now. So with that, quick and to the point, I'll hand over to Elke to take us through the Circularity Assessment Tool. And then in the meantime, please have a look at the chat. I will share a link to a Mentimeter poll, and it'll be quite interesting if everyone can complete that poll, and then we will go through the results a bit later. Over to you, Elke. You are muted, Elke.
Yeah, sorry, I'm still looking to the Zoom buttons I'm used to. Can you share my screen? See my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Great. Okay, let me get started then. I just added one more time my name, since I can change my name on in Teams. So my name is Elke Nijman. I am the project lead for ASEN for the Circular Food Systems for Rwanda project. I'm based in Rwanda. And yeah, as Krista was sharing, we have been developing this circularity assessment tool that I would like to chat about today a bit more in details. So I quickly want to go through today why we developed this tool and how it has been created, who can make use of the tool. We also will go to the tool, and yeah, we are still open for feedback on the tool as well. So first of all, how is the circularity assessment tool being created? So first of all, we call it the CATS in the short terms. It's not an animal, but a real tool. So we developed this by the African Circular Economy Network as a product from the Circular Food Systems for Rwanda with support of our project partners from CIRF. And we saw the need, as Crystal was saying, of developing a tool that actually helps identify circular economy gaps and opportunities, especially for companies working in agri-food sector in Africa, and especially in Rwanda and East Africa. But also the need for companies to understand where they are in the circularity journey. So we saw that a lot of the circular economy knowledge, tools, frameworks, there's still a lot that is currently developed for more global north stakeholders. So therefore we were thinking, okay, let's look at the existing frameworks that are right now exist, and also to see how it can suit the African companies, and to make something that really works for stakeholders here on the ground. So after looking at these frameworks that already existed and knowing the situation here on ground, we tested the tool with 20 companies in Rwanda as part of the CIRF project. And well, in the beginning, the question was existing about so many different questions. So over time, we simplified the tool. So now it takes you not more than 15 minutes to complete it. So first of all, who can make use of the tool? So we're actually mostly focusing on two business groups. Circularity can be very wide, and there's a lot of ways of applying circular economy. So sometimes we also need to think about which companies do we target. So we especially here looking at companies that are providing, for instance, input to farmers, are in farming or processing crops into new products, wood products. or businesses that are focusing on agro-logistics or asset management services. So you can think about, for instance, transport, cold storage services, or for instance, providing farming equipment. So for instance, we had a company as part of CIRF that was providing rental services to farmers. And very frequently we forget that this type of business model can also be circular, and this is more circular in the way of optimizing assets, which is very different from farming or processing crops. So therefore, we developed two different questionnaires. Also, when you will see or in the presentation that you can click on which category fits to you. And then lastly, also organizations that are supporting companies in the circular economy journey or like to introduce it as a concept, they can also make use of the tool as well. So that are basically the main target groups that we're focusing on. And yeah, since circularity can be applied at many different levels, we decided to focus on these target groups. Let me just quickly show you on live screen. I hope you can see it. Crystal, can you see the website? Let me just go right here.
Yes, we can see it.
Let me just, here on the website, you can see different tabs. So there's a home tab. There is a tab with the assessment, about, and frequently asked questions. So here, for instance, you can learn more about the tool if you click on learn more. You can see more, just basically what I just explained, and then some frequently asked questions related to circularity and how it can be applied to food. But the most exciting part, at least for me, and I hope for you too, is the survey and the assessment. So as I mentioned, there are two different categories. So here you can click on the category that fits to you. So right now I'm going to the category that is focusing more on services like asset management. And when I click here, it will bring you to an assessment with existing of 5 different categories. So here, the first section, for instance, is about understanding circularity in your business. So there's a question about how familiar are you with the concept of circular economy and its application to businesses. And there you can answer how much you have heard about it. For instance, you have never heard about it. I have heard about it, but I would like to learn more. I understand it and actively integrate circular economy practices in my business. So based on your level, you can fill in which answer fits to you. At the same time, you can also find here some buttons with some resources that explains more about circular economy and especially circular economy for foods, which brings you to different resources and websites. So let me just click. I'm just going to click something right now. You can look later on more in detail about the questions, but I just quickly want to show you how this works. So the second session is bringing circularity into business. So here it's really about how you apply it. So for instance, how much effort is your business putting into designing circular economy solutions and integrating circularity into your offerings? So in this case, I will say I haven't focused on circular economy business model yet. And also here you can see different resources you can go through. From that, I think it speaks now at itself how it works. Let me just go to this next session so that you can see what it does. Then here we have a session on material use design of current practices. So here, for instance, I have a question: to what extent do you integrate circular thinking at your service or system design stage? So in this case, I will say I have not heard integrated circular thinking into my processes or services. And I'm just going to show you what's going to happen now at the end of the survey, which is also very exciting. So here I have a section on asset management. So this is about how you go about assets and how optimal you use them. So also here we have resources, which I showed you before. So let me just go now to the end of the survey to show you what is happening. So let me just go there. one more question to click. Yeah, here we go. So at the end, I will fill in my name in my case, my email, and I just write test for a second, and I am, let me say, a agri-tech company. Then I will submit it, and what it does then at the end, you can see how far you are in your circularity journey. So right now I have scored 20 out of 100, and I'm in the beginning of my circular economy journey. And it provides for each section now different recommendations and what I can do to learn more. So depending on your circularity score, you will get different resources. So if you are very much ahead of your circular economy journey, it will give you less resources compared to when you're still very much at the beginning. But here you can see different resources you can go to learn more about what you can do to learn about circular economy for all the different 5 items that you answer your question for. Also, you will receive this in your email as well, so it's something you can keep track on. And that is very shortly about what a circularity assessment tool is. Let me just go back to the presentation. Let me just go here, and let me skip this. So basically, the goal of our circularity assessment tool is to give for companies to understand where are they in their circularity journey, right? To understand which opportunities that you can explore further by, for instance, using the resources, by looking into recommendations. And also, sometimes you might receive questions about where you are in your circular economy performance as a company, and this could potentially also help you to indicate on where you are in regarding to circularity. So this is very much a tool that I think circular economy is a concept that consistently is evolving over time. So I believe we can keep on fine-tuning things. So if you have any feedback, feel also reach out to us with the email that's here, circularfoodsystems@asen.africa. But also, if you have other relevant resources, for instance, you think your company is very much ahead in the circular economy journey, we can also add it, for instance, to the tool. Or if you have project resources that could be helpful to give more case studies for that are relevant for the applicant situation, I think that could also be very helpful. So I also feel very much free to share them as well. So that is very briefly about Circularity Assessment Tool. Here you can see the link to the page, and you can see also a QR code which you can scan. And I think that is everything very much in a nutshell. I hope it will help you in your journey in seeing where you are regarding circularity, and that you can help to inspire you and give more resources and information. So I hope it will be very helpful for you as a company or projects that you might be working on. I think I leave it to here for now. Christo, I will hand it back to you. I think you want to walk us through a few questions also, and to see where we are with the audience that is on this call.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Elke. It's so amazing to see this baby of ours coming to life. There's a lot of work that went into this in the background. So thank you very much for presenting it to us. And I'm sure a lot of people will get a lot of value out of this. And just on a personal note, I think the question might come up, why is a tool like this useful with the technology that we have? And you can Google everything these days. And I think the real value of a tool like this is actually the process that you go through and the questions that is asked during the survey. So the question really prompts and make you think a bit about
Still
where
there?
you are.
Okay.
Yes, Elke, we still hear you. I think
Okay.
the questions and the journey that you go through in this tool, that's the real benefit. So please feel free to use it after this session. And then, like Elke said, let's quickly go through these few questions. I think there's some interesting insights that might come out of it. I just want to check. Elke, can you see the screen? Clear? Okay, perfect. So the first question, I think there was 5 questions, and thanks a lot for everyone. And most of the people on the call actually completed the survey, so thanks a lot for taking the time. So it seems like the far majority of the people actually know about circularity and actively promote it in their business operations. So that is very good to see. So it seems like we're preaching to the choir here a bit. So that's excellent to see. Thank you for that feedback. And then the next one was, to what extent do you invest time and resources into the design of circular economy business models? So this is where the rubber hits the road and you actually start implementing some things. And here the feedback on everyone on the call is middle of the road. So invest some time and resources, but not consistency over all, not consistently over all areas. So that's middle of the road. And luckily, the minority says that they've not invested any time. Then again, for the next one, do your business extend product lifecycle to return, reuse, repair, and remanufacture? So yes, the far majority actually says yes, they do it, but not yet widely across all product ranges. So still some work to be done there. And material recovery. So to what extent is organic waste and agriculture byproducts recycled? So middle of the road again. So some is recycled and reused. And I think there's one more. So future commitments. I think this was an important one. So are you envisioning in the future goals and commitments that is there any business long-term goals regarding circularity? And most of us have some ideas or plans in place, but still in the early stages. And I think that comes back to the actual implementation of the knowledge and the circularity aspects that we have access to already. So thanks a lot for completing that. I think that was very useful. And now for the next 5 or 6 minutes, I think the next part, if there are any questions, what I will do, I will unmute everyone and give you the opportunity to speak if you want to. And I already saw one specific question. Someone asked, is this specific to Rwanda because it was developed as part of this Circular Food Systems in Rwanda project? So the answer to that is no. It can be. So I think that we envisioned it to be East African based. But Elke, maybe you can jump in here as well. I think most of the questions is quite general and can be applied to anywhere in Africa, and especially the resources as well. It's not specific to Rwanda. I think also the resources is general, depending on your answers that you give in the survey. So please go ahead if there's any. Let me have a look at the chat. Elke, please tell me if there's any questions. And Suzanne, just maybe before I hand over to the audience as well, Suzanne, I really love your comment to say that this is actually applicable to other sectors as well. And I would love to see one for e-waste as well. I think that's maybe next on ASEN's list. I like that suggestion.
So I wanted you to tell me, let me check the name of that this thing. What's it called? The sugar's this is our buy. What's the name of the ground? So we need to buy the street.
Sorry, Vasilia, you broke up a bit there. Could you catch it, Elke?
No.
I don't remember.
Maybe you can put your question in the chat. We can't hear you very well, so maybe that could be helpful.
Hey, go ahead, Sarah.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for sharing the tool. I'm Sarah Dickens. I'm from Money & Daniels, a consultancy specializing in lots of kind of cross-cutting themes across circular economies. It strikes me that the tool is also a really useful learning exercise. So not just for ASEN, of course, you're going to be collecting kind of learning data, elements to reflect on. I know Peter has put in the chat about potentially aggregating the data and sharing it widely, which I think is a really interesting prospect. I'm just wondering, do you have plans potentially to close the feedback loop through, for example, a community of practice or a reflective learning space? I think that could be a really powerful opportunity.
I think that's a very good. I'll go first, then I'll hand over to you, Elke, for any comments. Sarah, I think that's a brilliant comment. So that might definitely be, depending on the feedback that we receive from this tool and the results that we see, I think a community of practice is definitely an excellent next step, as one of the objective of ASEN is to share knowledge as well. So from this assessment, we can actually analyze what type of knowledge is required, and we can definitely focus on that. Great suggestion. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Look forward to seeing it.
Anything else to add, Elke?
No, I think you said it very well. Maybe just to add, the question was asked if this was only for Rwanda. No, it's for what Crystal said, it is also for other African countries. So we have used in the case study or in the resources, some resources that we have from CIRF, but therefore it might look sometimes like that. But feel free, if you have other resources, to add them as well, so that we can, the more resources we can add that are applicable for African context, I think the better the tool will become over time. So yeah, just wanted to add that, Crystal, but I think you captured everything else very well.
Excellent. I think that's a very important point that you mentioned there, Elke, is that this is version 1.0 of this assessment. I think as we receive feedback, we'll be adding new resources. We might adjust some of the questions to be a bit different depending on the feedback. So this is definitely a living tool that we will adapt as we are going on. Go ahead, Peter.
Thanks, Kristen, Elke. Great presentation. And I did put my question in the chat. You may not have seen it. And as Sarah referred to it, it was about whether can we collect the data and then share anonymized how circular Africa is in the longer term. And in the longer term, it could be done by sector, it could be done by country. Any thoughts on that yet?
I don't think we haven't looked into that yet, Peter, but that's definitely a possibility. So similar to the answer with Sarah, I think once we start receiving feedback and start collecting the data, we'll see where the feedback is leading. And I think that's a brilliant idea, that we can actually assess the overall knowledge of the people that actually uses the tool. Because I know there's maybe it's quite similar to that circularity gap report that is done annually. So then we can actually see from these assessments what are the major gaps in the specific sector. So definitely, I think that's very useful data that we can collect here.
Thank you.
I think if there's not any other questions, I see this was quite a quick session and we are at our time. I just quickly want to share a last screen from my side and just say thank you for everyone that took the time to join this session. I think this is a very exciting milestone for us, and we would love some feedback. And if you look at the screen, you'll see this short survey that we would love to get some feedback on. So the feedback that we get from our audience is always very helpful for us to improve sessions like these going forward, and the type of tools that we create and the type of webinars that we do. So please take less than 1 minute to fill in this survey. And we would really appreciate your feedback. And Bernadette, I see your hand. Please go ahead, and then I'll give you the last word of the session.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. I think this is very good kind of webinar session that we have had with a number of circular economy practitioners. Maybe before you give me the word, there is a question in the chat that is still pending. I don't know if you covered it. It's from Ali. The question is it possible to promote this tool and work on a national initiative to use it? So maybe you can also answer that question. And I think the answer is yes, but it has to come from you guys. Yeah.
Perfect. No, I agree completely with that. I think it ties in with what Peter mentioned earlier about that we can actually get some very useful data from the people that complete this. So we'll definitely share it now that it is available. We will share it as wide as we can to get as much feedback as we possibly can. Yeah, thanks for highlighting that, Bernadette. Okay, so I think with that, if there's no other questions, I think I'll close the session for now, and we will look forward to any feedback that you might give us on this assessment. And we will definitely, so like I mentioned, we will share the recording and all the links that were shared. We will share that with all the registrants, and then we will definitely keep in touch. Excellent. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time. Thanks for joining, and we will chat soon. See you in the next one. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.